At a family dinner, my sister announced she was moving in. Too bad the house wasn't mine anymore. I gripped my iced tea glass tighter, knuckles whitening as Lily's words hang in the air between us. So next week I'll be moving into your place, she says with a casual smile, as if announcing she's switching to oat milk or taking up Pilates, just until I figure things out. The wine cork pops beside me, my father beaming as he pours the ruby liquid into crystal glasses I've never seen before. Mom's china, the set she saves for Thanksgiving and Christmas, gleams under the chandelier light. The table arrangement should have been my first clue something was happening. Lily seated at the head of the table. The formal settings. The wine chilling in the silver bucket. This isn't Sunday dinner. It's an ambush. I've already started packing, Lily continues, accepting a glass from Dad with a gracious nod. It shouldn't take more than a day to get everything moved in. My parents exchange pleased glances across the table, nodding along as if this is the most reasonable plan in the world. As if my consent is merely a formality, already given. To new beginnings, my father says, raising his glass. Everyone lifts theirs in response. Everyone except me. The storage unit boxes make sense now. 3 days ago I'd found them stacked in my garage, oversized plastic containers labeled Lily's winter clothes and Lily's books. When I texted her about them, she'd brushed it off. Just temporary storage, she said, just until I find more space in my apartment. I should have known. Just like I should have known what it meant when I confronted my parents about paying Lily's rent for the 3rd time this year. She's going through a rough patch, Mom had said, waving away my concerns. That's what family does, we help each other. I hear my mother's voice from last week, the phone call I wasn't supposed to overhear while waiting in her kitchen. Mia is so lonely in that big house, she told Aunt Carol. She needs her sister's company. It's perfect timing, really. Perfect timing. As if my life exists solely to accommodate Lily's latest crisis. I set my iced tea down carefully, reaching for my purse on the floor beside me. The trembling in my hands has nothing to do with nervousness and everything to do with fury. Why do you look so serious? Lily laughs, her eyes darting briefly to our parents. This is good news for both of us. You get company, and I get to save on rent for a while. My fingers close around the manila envelope I'd brought, the one I'd almost left in the car, thinking tonight wasn't the right time. But there is no right time with my family. There is only their time, their plans, their expectations. The tremor in my hands steadies as I place the envelope on the table. Actually, I say, my voice calmer than I feel, I have news too. My parents' expressions shift instantly. Mom's smile falters, eyes narrowing slightly. Dad lowers his wine glass, forehead creasing with concern. The change is subtle but unmistakable, the united front forming against the daughter who isn't following the script. What kind of news? Mom's tone carries a warning. Don't ruin this. Don't be difficult. I feel the weight of familiar labels hovering in the air. Selfish. Difficult. Uncaring. The stakes of defiance are clear. Disagree and become the family villain. Again. Looking at their expectant faces, I realize this pattern has defined my entire life. Lily takes. I give. My parents enforce the transaction. The roles never change. The lines never shift. Until now. I place the manila envelope in the center of the table, my fingers lingering on the edge. The room falls silent, my family's anticipation hanging heavy in the air. What's that? Mom's voice carries a hint of irritation, as if my interruption is derailing an already settled plan. This, I say, carefully withdrawing the papers inside, is the sale agreement for my house. I sold it last week. I have 30 days left before I move. The silence that follows is absolute. Lily's wine glass slips from her fingers, shattering against the hardwood floor. No one moves to clean it up. Dad's mouth opens and closes like a fish suddenly finding itself on dry land. You what? Lily finally whispers. I flip through my phone, pulling up the Pinterest board I discovered this morning. Interesting timing, isn't it? While you were planning to move in, Mom and Aunt Carol were already designing your future bedroom in my house. I turn the screen toward them, displaying their meticulous board labeled Lily's New Room Boho Chic Dreams. My throat tightens as I watch recognition flash across their faces. 9 years of saving every possible penny, working overtime, sacrificing vacations and new clothes, all to afford that house, my dream home. And to them, it was just another resource to be redirected to Lily. Dad stands abruptly, towering over me. You can just cancel the sale, he says, waving his hand dismissively. These things have cooling-off periods. Mom rises too, resting her hand on his arm. Mia, we already promised Lily she could stay as long as she needed. You can't possibly expect her to find a place in 30 days. Actually, Aunt Carol pipes up from the end of the table, we were going to move most of her things next Tuesday while you were at work, just to make it easier for everyone. The coordinated betrayal steals my breath. I glance at Nancy, Mom's oldest friend, sitting uncomfortably beside Aunt Carol. She stares fixedly at her plate, avoiding eye contact with everyone. You can't do this, Dad says, his voice hardening. What about your property taxes coming due? You know I always help with those. The implied threat isn't subtle. His one annual contribution to my finances, dangled now as leverage. Mia, Mom says softly, her voice taking on the concerned tone she uses when discussing unstable people, I'm worried about you. This kind of impulsive decision-making isn't like you. Are you feeling all right? Have you been taking care of yourself? I recognize the strategy immediately. If not compliant, then possibly unwell. It's a familiar path in our family dynamic, one that's kept me in line for years. You did this on purpose, Lily accuses, tears streaming down her face. You found out I needed a place to stay and sold your house just to spite me. The accusation lands like a physical blow. This is how it always goes. My boundaries recast as cruelty, my self-preservation painted as selfishness. For a moment, I consider explaining the truth. The catastrophic roof replacement that drained my savings. The water main break. The HVAC system failure. The mounting financial pressure that made selling not just advisable but necessary. But what would be the point? They've already cast me as the villain in this family drama. Why give them more ammunition? I made this decision for my own reasons, I say instead, keeping my voice steady. And it's final. So you're just going to leave your sister homeless? Mom's voice rises. After everything we've done for you? The familiar weight of guilt settles on my shoulders. Everything they've done for me. The invisible ledger of family obligation that only ever seems to accumulate in one direction. Lily isn't homeless, I point out. She has an apartment, and if that doesn't work, she has your spare bedroom. That's not the point, Dad interjects. Family helps family. Period. The unspoken remainder of that sentence hangs in the air, and you're not being family. I think, I say carefully, gathering the sale papers back into the envelope, that we have different definitions of help. Under the table, I feel a gentle squeeze on my hand. Nancy, still avoiding eye contact with everyone else, whispers so quietly I almost miss it, good for you. It's a small validation, but in this moment, it feels monumental. One person in this room doesn't see me as selfish or cruel for protecting myself. The first call comes Tuesday morning while I'm fixing my coffee. Aunt Carol's name flashes on my phone screen, unusual for a weekday before 9. Mia, honey, I just talked to your mother. Her voice carries that particular tone, the one reserved for funerals and family scandals. Is it true you sold your house just to keep Lily from staying with you? My coffee sloshes over the rim of my mug, scalding my fingers. What? Lily called me in tears last night, said you sold your beautiful home out of spite, knowing she needed a place to stay. The burning on my hand fades as a different heat rises in my chest. That's not what happened. Your sister will be homeless, Mia. I never thought you could be so cruel. The calls continue all day. Uncle Robert, cousin Jennifer, even Dad's golf buddy Chuck, whose connection to this situation escapes me entirely. Each conversation follows the same script: Lily's desperate situation, my apparent heartlessness, their profound disappointment in me. While preparing dinner, I make the mistake of checking Facebook. Lily's latest post appears at the top of my feed. The hardest lesson in life is learning who truly has your back when times get tough. Family should be forever, not just when it's convenient. Red heart, broken heart. 27 sympathetic comments follow, including one from Mom, we're here for you, sweetheart. Always. 2 hearts. The knife in my hand chops carrots with increasing force. The final blow comes Thursday, when my colleague Sarah stops by my desk, her expression pinched with concern. "I ran into your sister at Starbucks this morning," she says, lowering her voice. "She told me about the house situation. If you need help finding her temporary housing, my church has a program." The carrot pieces on my cutting board splinter under the blade. "What exactly did Lily tell you?" Sarah shifts uncomfortably. "Just that she's facing homelessness because of some sudden decision you made." She seemed really upset. My jaw tightens so hard it aches. "Thanks for your concern, Sarah. But Lily isn't homeless. She has an apartment and parents with a 4-bedroom house." After Sarah leaves, I lock myself in the bathroom stall, hands trembling as I text my sister, "Stop telling people I'm making you homeless. It's a lie and you know it." Her response arrives instantly, "You're selling the house I was counting on. What would you call it?" The roof replacement came first, $11,000 I hadn't budgeted for when the March storms revealed leaks in 3 different rooms. I emptied my vacation fund and took a small loan, telling myself it was a one-time emergency. Then the water main broke in April, $8,200 for emergency repairs and landscape restoration. I canceled plans to visit my college roommate in Phoenix, picked up weekend freelance work for a local marketing firm, and ate instant ramen for dinner more nights than I care to admit. The HVAC system failure in June was the final blow, $5,000 I simply didn't have. Each night after work, I'd sit at my kitchen table, surrounded by spreadsheets and bank statements, calculating and recalculating figures that refused to balance. The crying started around then. Silent tears that came only after midnight, when I was certain no neighbors walking dogs might glance through my windows and see the truth, that the woman they waved to each morning, the one who always appeared composed and capable, was falling apart behind closed doors. My reflection in the bathroom mirror each morning revealed the cost, dark hollows beneath my eyes that concealer couldn't quite hide, collarbones more pronounced against my blouses. When my pants began slipping at the waist, I punched new holes in my belt rather than buy smaller sizes. Temporary situation, temporary solution. While maintaining this facade, I packed my home each evening. 9 years of memories sorted into keep, donate, and trash. Books that once lined entire walls now filled boxes stacked in corners. The wedding photos of friends, the graduation pictures of cousins, the vacation snapshots, all bubble-wrapped and nestled in containers labeled with blue marker. Through it all, I documented everything. Bank statements in chronological order, house repair invoices filed by date and category, text messages screenshot and saved, a fortress of paper proof against the siege of family fiction. While packing my office bookshelf, I found it, a framed photo I'd almost forgotten. Me standing on the front porch of this house the day I signed the mortgage papers, keys clutched in my hand, smile threatening to split my face. The realtor had taken it as a surprise, catching the exact moment I realized I'd actually done it, purchased a home entirely on my own. I traced the frame's edge, remembering that feeling. Pride without a hint of apology. Accomplishment without anyone else's approval attached. I placed it carefully atop the nearest keep box, this tangible reminder of what I built and what no one could diminish. The doorbell rings Saturday afternoon while I'm wrapping dishes in newspaper. Through the front window, I spot my parents' Buick in the driveway, Lily's red Honda behind it. No warning text, no courtesy call. I consider not answering, but the knocking grows more insistent. When I open the door, they file in like funeral directors, solemn, judgmental, prepared to manage a difficult situation. Mom spots the boxes immediately. "You're really going through with this madness." I fold the newspaper around another plate, securing it with tape. "The closing is in 3 weeks. Your sister needs you." Mom's voice rises slightly. "You've always been selfish, but this is beyond understanding. Your sister needs you." The plate in my hands remains steady, though something shifts inside me. I've spent my entire life being told what Lily needs. The words emerge calmer than I feel. Did anyone ever ask what I need? Dad clears his throat. "Mia, be reasonable. I need financial stability. I need to sleep at night without panic attacks about bills. I need to not drain my retirement fund for house repairs I can't afford." I continue wrapping dishes methodically. Unlike past confrontations, I don't stop what I'm doing to give them my full attention. I don't offer beverages or comfortable seats. I continue my work while they stand awkwardly in my half-packed kitchen. We're your family, Mom says, voice wavering between anger and disbelief. Yes, you are. And I've never once asked you for money. Not for college, not for my first apartment, not for this house, and not for the repairs that drained my savings. For once, they have no immediate response. Lily stares at the floor, unable to meet my eyes. Dad examines the ceiling as if architectural features have suddenly become fascinating. I realize with startling clarity that I no longer need their approval or understanding. The constant ache for validation I've carried since childhood has quieted, replaced by something sturdier. When I stand to reach for another stack of plates, I notice my posture has changed. Shoulders back, spine straight, eyes level with theirs instead of downcast as usual. The physical manifestation of an internal shift. Nancy arrives that evening with Chinese takeout and 2 bottles of wine. She helps me pack photo albums while sharing stories of her own sister, the one who didn't speak to her for 3 years after Nancy refused to co-sign a loan. Family patterns are the hardest to break, she says, carefully wrapping a crystal vase my grandmother left me. But sometimes breaking them is the only way forward. Monday brings an unexpected text from my colleague Jake. Need help moving? Got a truck and strong back. Family often sees us least clearly. Just say when. That afternoon, Patricia, my financial advisor, emails confirmation of my townhouse application approval. Based on your financials, this move reduces your housing costs by 42%. The right decision for your long-term security. Call if you need anything else. The contrast strikes me as I review these messages over dinner. These people ask what I need rather than telling me what to give. They offer specific help instead of vague demands. That night, I spread my financial documents across the dining room table: bank statements, repair invoices, property tax assessments, retirement account withdrawals, everything meticulously organized, the complete picture of my financial reality. Tomorrow's family meeting won't be an intervention for me, but a reckoning with facts they've chosen to ignore. My one advantage remains unspoken: the sales agreement includes a 30-day rent-back clause. For a month after closing, I can stay in the house while finalizing my townhouse purchase. Breathing room they don't know I have. At exactly 7 o'clock Tuesday evening, the doorbell rings. When I open it, I find not just my parents and Lily on the porch, but Aunt Carol, Uncle Robert, and my cousin Jennifer standing behind them, a family firing squad assembled for execution. I stand at the head of my dining room table, a position that feels foreign yet right. The manila folder in my hands holds every financial statement, every bill, every painful reminder of why I had to sell my home. My fingers no longer tremble as I open it. Before anyone says another word, I need you all to see something. My voice carries a steadiness I don't entirely recognize. The family gathering looks larger than I anticipated. My parents, Lily, Uncle Robert, Aunt Carol, and my support team, Nancy, Patricia, and Jake. I lay out the documents methodically, arranging them in chronological order. Bank statements, emergency fund withdrawals, contractor invoices. Each paper tells part of the story I've kept hidden. This is the roof replacement from last spring. I slide the $11,200 invoice toward the center where everyone can see it. The 30-year shingles only lasted 22. Insurance covered nothing. Uncle Robert adjusts his glasses, leaning forward with a frown that cuts deep lines across his forehead. Water main repair, $8,200. Another paper joins the first. When the city updated the main line, it revealed my connection was deteriorating. No warning, no payment plan offered. My mother shifts in her seat but remains uncharacteristically silent. HVAC system replacement, $5,000. The third major bill completes my trinity of homeownership nightmares. The energy efficiency rebate covered barely a quarter of the cost. I maintain direct eye contact as I speak, something I rarely managed in family confrontations before. Patricia nods almost imperceptibly from her seat near the window, encouraging me to continue. My emergency fund is gone. I place my bank statement on top, the balance painfully clear. My financial advisor recommended selling while the market is still hot rather than risking a foreclosure later when I might be underwater. Lily's chair scrapes against the hardwood as she stands abruptly. This is creative accounting, Mia. You've always been good with numbers when it suits you. Her voice carries the familiar accusatory edge. You're just trying to avoid your family responsibilities. Uncle Robert, whose judgment I've feared since childhood, surprises me by turning toward my sister. Lily, what's your current employment situation? Last I heard, you were between jobs. The unexpected redirection leaves Lily fumbling. I'm exploring opportunities. The job market is complicated right now. My mother jumps in. Robert, this isn't about employment. Family duty exists regardless of finances. Mia has always had that beautiful house with all that extra space. Speaking of space, Aunt Carol interjects, her reading glasses perched on her nose as she examines my heating bill. Why can't Lily stay with you and Roger? You have that guest room you just redecorated. The conversation shifts like a current, pulling away from me and swirling around the room as family members begin questioning the arrangement I've endured my entire adult life. Nancy clears her throat. I've known this family for 20 years. Mia bought her house without any family financial support. Meanwhile, I've watched Lily receive help with rent, car payments, and credit card bills repeatedly. Her voice carries the weight of long observation. The pattern has been clear to everyone except those closest to it. 3 months later, I stand in the center of my downtown loft, savoring the space around me. Sunlight streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, warming the polished concrete floors beneath my bare feet. This place felt foreign at first, a compromise rather than a choice. Now it feels like the home I never knew I needed. My phone buzzes with a reminder, Sunday dinner at my parents'. I feel the familiar tightening in my shoulders, then consciously release it. These dinners have changed, just as I have. At my parents' house, Lily arranges flowers in a simple vase, her movements confident and purposeful. She looks up, her smile reaching her eyes for the first time in years. They gave me my first promotion today, she says, pulling a business card from her pocket. Assistant marketing manager, sounds fancy for someone who started making coffee runs, but I'm learning so much. She hands me the card proudly, without the defensive edge that once colored her accomplishments. As we eat, I notice Dad asking thoughtful questions of both daughters, not just fawning over Lily's every word. The balance feels strange but welcome. 1 week later, laughter fills my loft as Nancy raises her glass. To homes that shelter us and boundaries that protect us. Around my coffee table sit Jake, Patricia, Uncle Robert, and me, my chosen family alongside the blood relative who surprised me most. Nancy presents me with a frame containing 2 photos, me signing my original mortgage papers 9 years ago, and me holding the keys to this townhouse. 2 brave beginnings, she says softly. 2 very different women, I add, recognizing how much I've changed. The following weekend finds Lily and me at my kitchen table, surrounded by spreadsheets and calculator apps. So if I put away 15% of each paycheck, I could have first and last month's rent by January, she says, chewing her lip as she runs the numbers again. Our parents sit on my sofa, watching this scene with a mix of pride and regret. We should have done this years ago, Mom admits quietly. We thought we were helping, but we were hurting both of you in different ways. Dad nods, his eyes revealing the difficult journey of unlearning decades of enabling behavior. As I watch Lily calculate her budget with determination I'd never seen before, I realize that sometimes the greatest gift we can give someone is the chance to save themselves. The house may be gone, but what I built in its place, boundaries, self-respect and genuine family relationships, will last much longer than any mortgage ever could.